Like I'm from Eastern Kentucky. That's where my twang comes from. I'm a Harlan County girl. I moved to Lexington 10 years ago. So I actually started out in healthcare. I started out in nursing school, completely changed my major into business, graduated with bachelor in business, minor in computers. I've worked in all office jobs, HR. I've done all of that stuff, and I realized that is not me. Like, I'm such a creative individual that if I'm not creating or doing something that just makes me happy, then it wasn't working for me. So actually when, I've been through a lot with my life, and I lost my dad, then I lost my brother, and when that happened, I completely changed my entire mindset. So, and mindset's everything. And I changed the way that I lived. Like, I will no longer work any type of job or be around any situation that doesn't bring me happiness, because life is so short. Sadly, I realize how quickly it can be taken away. And so I live every day to make myself happy, doing the things that I enjoy, because life can be taken away in an instant, as we know. So I start doing things that make me happy. I'm a hustler. I just literally create. I'll do all the things that bring me joy. And a lot of people don't realize how to do that, I don't think. They get stuck in situations, or they think they're stuck in a career or stuck in a relationship, and they're afraid to change, and they're afraid to redirect their thinking. And it's so important to realize that you're never stuck, and you can do anything you want to do. It's literally your mindset. You just have to put yourself out there and go for it.
In today's world, there's a confusion between doing what makes you happy, but also doing something meaningful.
Mm-hmm. You have to make yourself uncomfortable in order to grow. And I think a lot of people don't understand that. Nothing in life comes easy. You have to be out of the comfort zone and put yourself in an uncomfortable situation to succeed and to grow.
Right. And so coming up in Eastern Kentucky and in Harlan, when you were growing up, at least, what was the general thoughts behind the path that you wanted to take? Or was that something that you even thought you wanted to do, being creative, or did it take that experience that you had to kind of have that shift of what you wanted?
Growing up in Eastern Kentucky, and it's obviously a different time than it is now. We played outside till dark. We were in the mountains. I was on a dirt bike. I was literally a tomboy, just having fun. And I was also very comfortable with just being I could entertain myself. So I think that's why a lot of times I'm kind of a loner. I will eat by myself. I will go places. I will do whatever I want to by myself. I don't wait on anybody to do it with me. If someone adds to my happiness, great. But I'm going to do little things that make me happy. And I think that is kind of developed from my roots of just doing what I wanted, just being out there. Because when we were little, that's what we did. We just entertained ourselves. We didn't have social media. We didn't have the cell phones and all this stuff that's out there now. We just played outside. And but I never thought, hey, I want to go into acting, or hey, I want to be into creativity like I am, or a life coach. I had no idea. When you grow up in a small town, you kind of listen to what your parents want you to do and what they think that you should do. And a lot of people get stuck in listening to what other people think they should do instead of following what makes them happy and generally fulfilled. So, I used to work for the state government years ago in Harlan, and that was not what I wanted to do with my life at all. And my mother even, she was like, I wish you would have stayed with the state where you could retire and have all these benefits. But, when I lost my brother, why should I stay in any situation that I'm unhappy in to possibly receive benefits that I may never live to see?
Yeah.
So that's when I changed my entire mindset. It was you know what? Life is so short. I'm going to do everything that I can to keep myself happy, to keep my daughter happy. And, because our mental health and our peace of mind is what matters the most. So I guess that's kind of how I got to this point where I'm at today.
And how did actually go into a little bit about working in government, especially in a small town? How did you actually get into that?
It was just a job that was available when I needed a job. So I think that's another thing. People just look for work, and then they just get a job when, they need a job. Instead of looking for something that actually would make them happy, they just take jobs. But you don't have to do that anymore. Like, there's so many things that you can do now, which is amazing. Like, there's so many things that we can do for ourselves, like in entrepreneurship and everything. You just have to go for it. You can't hesitate. If you hesitate at all, then you're going to fail. You just have to throw yourself out there and just go for it.
And so working within the government of a small town, what kind of experience or what kind of like lessons, if any, do you feel like you took away from that, other than just like, I don't want to necessarily do this?
Well, the one thing that was positive about it is I've always loved to help people. So I loved working with one-on-one with people and helping them. But at the same time, if I couldn't help them, it would eat me alive, because I wanted to be able to help everybody and get them the benefits that I could help them with. And but I would take my work home with me, and like, oh my gosh, they couldn't get what I thought they could, or like, it would bother me. And so, and then also, if you're in a small town, you pretty much know everybody and you know their situation. So you do get a lot of people that are lying about their situations, and you know it, but like, you're trying to do your job, and it's kind of like, what do you do type of thing. And so that was the downside of it, is like, if you knew that someone was lying about their situation and they were trying to falsely receive benefits. So, but that's what you're going to get in any kind of government position. People lie. They just lie.
Yeah.
So, and I just didn't want to be part of, like, that was just not what I wanted to do. It was very boring for me. Like, I love to just keep myself busy. And I think that's what's so important to, like, keep me healthy. Like, you have to keep your mind healthy before your body's going to be healthy. And so I stay busy. Like, I'm constantly making sure that I'm busy doing something that I love or enjoy.
I feel like in today's world, just thinking about government for a second, there's like a lot of people who are frustrated with the government in general, because they feel like there's no connection between like the actual person who they're maybe trying to talk to, or their person who's working this job that they're trying to, even if it's something as like basic as trying to, get your license renewed or something like that. In a small town, does it feel like there's a lot more like accountability for that kind of stuff though, because everybody does know everybody?
I'm sure there is. I mean, and obviously I think whenever the COVID crap hit, whenever the COVID situation hit, it changed a lot of things. So there's a lot of people work from home now, and a lot of people don't have that one-on-one interaction. And I think that it's needed. I think one-on-one interaction is definitely needed, because a lot of people sadly do not know how to use computers or even use like technology, especially like the older generation has a really hard time in figuring things out, when the younger generation, like, everything they do is on an iPhone now. And so it makes it very hard for like older individuals that actually need help or need assistance with things, if they can't speak to someone one-on-one on the phone. Like, everything is, automatic or a link, and it makes it more difficult for people now. So I definitely know, like, back then, I mean, that was 12 years ago when I worked that position, and there was the one-on-one. Because none of this craziness in the world was happening back then. So now I think they still do a lot of calls, and it's more like a call center, I think. So,
you mentioned just like the craziness that has become, at least America in a lot of senses. And thinking back 10, 12, 15 years ago, it almost feels like that time was just so much more humane back then. It's become such a place that I feel like even having like a conversation on a podcast a lot of times nowadays is even something that a lot of people are fearful of, because they don't want to be unthoughtful with the exact wordage that they use. Right.
Everyone is so triggered anymore, or so, like, I don't know, it's like you're afraid to offend someone. And I think it has made a lot of people afraid to even be themselves anymore. And it's sad, because it's silly to me how ridiculous the world has become, and just the hatred with people. And it's really sad, because, like I said, life is so short, and it's so important to just be kind to each other and to build each other up and lift each other up and be supportive of each other, because why would you not? Like, why would you not be supportive of somebody? I've never understood why there's so many individuals that are just jealous or just don't want to see people succeed. It's like they want to succeed, but they don't want someone else to succeed. And I've always been the type of individual, if I can help you grow, then I want to help you grow. If I know how to do something, then let me show you how to do something. Like if I know how to do something and you need help with that, then I would love to help you with that. And I just think the world needs more of that type of personality to where we're helping each other instead of trying to tear each other apart.
Yeah. Growing up in Harlan, was there like a sense of community that you got that you don't necessarily feel in a bigger place?
Absolutely. So when I first moved to Lexington, that was something that I struggled with because I was so used to a small town, and I was so used to knowing everybody by their name. And like as soon as you walk in the store, you're greeted by somebody that you've known your whole life. Or if you're sitting down in a restaurant, you know at least 20 of the people that's in there eating. And so when I first moved to Lexington, I struggled with that because I'm such a people person. And I would try to, I compliment strangers. Like, I'm just like, oh my gosh, you're so pretty, or you look so pretty today, or I love your shirt, or I love your sneakers. Like, I love to help people feel good about themselves. And so when I first moved here, I remember sitting in a restaurant and they weren't that friendly. Like, they just weren't as friendly as what I was used to back home. And I thought, oh gosh, I don't know if I'm going to enjoy, this move or what. But then it wasn't just that, it was just that person, I think. I think everybody, and you can't take that into offense. Like, you don't know what someone's dealing with. You never know what someone's dealing with. So if you are trying to be nice to someone and they don't accept it, you can't hold that on your shoulder because you don't know what they're dealing with. They could be having the worst day of their life, but you still have to be kind to people no matter what, because you never know how your actions can help change someone's entire day. Even if it's not reciprocated, like, still just be a genuine, like, loving person to people.
Yeah, I think a lot of times in a bigger community, and the bigger that you get, I think there's less of this. I think there's a lot less accountability in regards to, like, I'll never see that person again, so it doesn't matter how I act towards them.
Right.
In a small town, it's like, oh, I'll see that person every time I go to the grocery store. I'll see that person, every Tuesday night at this event or whatever it is. And so it's like you at least have to be cordial. You at least have to not be, cuss them out in traffic.
Yeah. But honestly, like, the more I've lived in Lexington, it's honestly not that different. It's just like a bigger version of Harlan. Like, I've learned, like, I've met so many people, and then a lot of people from Harlan actually live in Lexington too. And it's just like that first initial change. I was like, okay, this is different. But then it grew on me, and I absolutely love Lexington now. And like, I know so many people in Lexington, and it's just an amazing spot. Like, the communities, it's a great community of individuals. And, I love having my Southern roots and just like the personality that I am. Like, I'm a very, I speak my mind type of person. And like, I don't regret like having that trait about me, because I think it's important to be that way. Like, I'm a realist, and a lot of people are afraid to be a realist because they're afraid they're going to hurt someone's feelings. But sometimes you have to, what I call, like, give somebody tough love to get them to see like their worth and what they're capable of. And sometimes people just need a person like that in their life. So that was kind of the main reason too that I wanted to start my coaching business, because so many people just don't know how to like take the appropriate steps to feel confident again, or to do the things they want to do with their life. They just don't know how to like start.
I think this is possibly true for any small town, and I think even like in very, very small towns, it may become more true, and maybe more like excluded towns too, excluded in terms of like geography. But Chris Stapleton said that, I can't remember where I heard it, but he was talking about where he came from. There was a lot of people who had a lot of talent, and he just happened to be the one person that made it out. That maybe there was 10 other people from his same town that had even more talent than he did. Do you feel like that in small towns that's a big problem, and that a lot of people don't necessarily see their value and what they can do?
Absolutely. There's so much hidden talent in the mountains. There's so much hidden talent in the city. There's so many people that are extremely talented individuals that I just don't think either see it or they just don't know what to do with it. I have so many friends that I've met throughout my life that are just, I'm like, why are you not on the radio? Like, why are you not, like, why is this what you're doing with your life? Like, they don't see it. They literally do not see it. And so it's kind of heartbreaking because they could be living their passion, but I don't think they're afraid to go for it maybe, or they just don't know how to.
I think a lot of times, especially back in the day, I feel like it maybe stemmed from like, if a person does recognize they have talent, then they might leave that town. Mm-hmm. And in a small town, like that's somebody that could be valuable. But in today's day and age, I think it's different because you can become you can stay wherever you are a lot of times and mm-hmm. be famous or be an influencer or be some sort of whatever you want to be mm-hmm. just by the internet and social media.
Right. And I have a love-hate relationship with social media because, obviously I love social media because it's an amazing way to market yourself and put yourself out there. And then the downside of social media is like, the bullying that can go on and the negativity that can take place. And, there's always going to be someone that does not like what you do, no matter how good of a person you are, no matter, what you're talking about, what situation it is, there's always going to be someone that just doesn't like you. And, years ago, that would have, that affected me. But now, it's not my business. If they don't like me, that's not my business. I can't let that affect me. I know who I am, and I know the things that I do and what I try to help people with, and that, my main priority is my daughter and making sure she's well taken care of and that we're just happy. Because literally, genuine happiness is just the goal for me. And little things are, just the simplest things bring me joy. And I think a lot of people struggle with that too. Just having my coffee in the morning makes me happy. The sunshine makes me happy. It's so cheesy, but it's so, just being outside in the nature, it makes me happy. Mm-hmm. Seeing dogs go by, I'm like, oh my God, look at the little fur baby. Little things make me happy. And so many people, I think, just shut their mind off to things instead of opening their eyes to how simple, life can be.
Yeah.
And it's sad.
Yeah. The simplicity the simple joys of life is, it's almost like a lost art of being able to appreciate that, because you see this friend from even a way back friend that you just happen to follow on Facebook or Instagram or whatever. Oh, they're on a cruise right now. So how am I going to think that just sitting on my porch is fun? Mm-hmm. Or, this person's just got a new car. So how can I even appreciate the fact that my car's even just 2 years old now, that I got 2 years ago, is brand new.
Right.
It's so hard to almost be able to disconnect from other people's happiness that doesn't necessarily mean that you have to be less happy about your situation.
Yeah. I think people, the comparison thing definitely is a thief for people. It will steal their joy. And you have to learn to not ever focus on what someone else is doing and what they have and how did they get it or what did they do to get it. It's we cannot ever compare ourselves with other individuals' success. And if that's something that you want, then you have to do, get up and make yourself do something to get that. Don't sit and compare it and complain and not do anything about it. Get up and make it happen if that's what you want. It's I've had so many friends that's done the same thing. They're like, well, why can't I have that? Or why can't I do this? Well, what are you doing to get that? What are you doing to try to achieve that? Don't complain and just be negative if you're not doing anything to change it.
Because I think to complain is it's an automatic short-term, very, very weird, but reward, right? Mm-hmm. Because it's it gives you back that power for a second, even though you don't really have any. But to be oh, I want to do that, saying that you want that and saying that you're going to do it can make you feel good for a second too. Mm-hmm. But then that also means you have to go and do something after that. Right. You have to actually put in that effort. Mm-hmm.
And that's a lot of things people struggle with, is actually putting in the effort. A lot of people want stuff freely handed to them. And I've seen that in so many different careers and with so many different individuals. A lot of people do not want to put in the work, and they think that it's just supposed to be handed to them.
Something that I think is interesting, especially with creative people, whether that be actors or musicians, or you see a lot of musicians on TikTok nowadays, especially, but even just people who are creative in general, oh, I want to make a funny video. Does it ever feel to you, because it feels to me that almost creativity has become a global phenomenon. does it ever feel like that there's almost need to be more creative because you can go viral by just doing trends, or like you can just sing the same song that is popular right now, and if you can sing it all, you can just, like, does it ever feel like that creativity is almost getting less and less, even though there's still as many creative people, but because trends go viral, you don't have to think about your own style anymore?
I think obviously TikTok and Instagram and Facebook and all of the social media outlets have definitely made it easy for people to create and then follow like creators and the trends, so to speak. But I don't think that it's like taken away from creativity. It's like, I love seeing people create because creativity has been very therapeutic for me. So, like, I love seeing people create anything, like, because I know that if they're enjoying doing that, it's probably therapeutic for them, and it's very important to do that. So I don't think that it's taking away, so to speak, or making it harder. Like, if you're saying, like, does it make me feel like I have to do something more creative to, like, be out there? Not necessarily. But I don't, like, try to just focus on stuff that's trending, so to speak.
Yeah.
But, like, I'm not even on TikTok anymore because they permanently banned my account. I had 98,000 followers, and they permanently banned my account for foolishness. Like, I don't even understand why. Same stuff I post on Instagram, same exact things. So, people were just falsely reporting my videos, and then they just took it away, completely gone. So I never got back on there because it just kind of really infuriated me, because I have seen absolute ridiculousness and foolishness from 18-year-old girls on there. And, you know, it's just insane to me. And even men, I've seen completely nude men that would have, the plant covering their goods, and that's okay. But, anybody that's on there trying to, if you look at my videos at all, I actually write motivational captions with most everything that I post. And so it's meaningful. Like, I share a lot of motivational stories. I've even shared personal stories just to help people realize, like, you can get through this. You're not alone. Reach out if you need me. So it really infuriated me when they took my little platform on TikTok away. I
mean, even having like a platform, of course, it's their business, right? It's their company. They can do what they want. But at the same time, it's like, does it feel like to you that it's a scary idea that they can just do that without any real explanation, or like once again, accountability, because it's so big, what's really going to happen?
The cancel culture is a real thing. I mean, look how many people that's like really out there that have been kind of canceled and lost their jobs, or because they're certain powers that be want to shut people up. And it's crazy. It's insane. Like, where's the freedom of speech that we're supposed to have in this wonderful free country of America, So it's like, that's when you're like, we have a problem. Like, there is a problem in this country because we don't have, we're trying to have the freedom of speech, but there's someone that's trying to shut it up, like, all the time. There's like individuals that if they do not agree with the way you think, then it's their way or the highway. And it's sad because, like, I think everyone needs to be a little open-minded, at least be able to sit down and have discussions and, at least see, like, even if we are disagreeing on something, at least, like, just, be able to discuss it without tearing each other apart. It's like, there's so many people that don't know how to do that. It's like their way or nothing. And that's been part of a huge problem, I think, with the way our world is anymore, because it's like one-sided, I feel like, all the time.
Being an actor, like, how do you feel like that that world, I guess, has responded to cancel culture, has responded to, like, people having more of an opinion on nitpickiness? Like, is there more of a pressure, do you feel like, in that world?
I don't know. Like, from what I've just seem to have noticed, a lot of the celebrities have became hush hush. Like, you don't hear from them anymore. Like, some of the people that were so, like, all about certain situations or topics, that where are they? Like, where are they now? And it's just like, what happened? Like, where are their voices now? Like, why are they not using their platform now? And it's just really kind of strange, like to wonder, where are these people at? Like, why did they just kind of disappear or vanish when before they were constantly, putting themselves out there and putting their opinions out there. So, and that's mostly like people out in the Hollywood world that I'm referring to. Like, you just don't hear from them anymore. Like, you don't really see them. And so it blows my mind because there's so many people that look up to some of these people and these celebrities or actors or musicians or whatever. And I think they're afraid to use their platform at this point. They don't want to offend someone, or they don't want to let people know like what they're thinking because they might lose a fan or two. And it's just crazy to me how touchy the world has become.
Yeah. And so kind of going back in time a little bit, how long do you feel like that creative, that acting and modeling side of you was inside of you before you actually decided like, hey, I'm going to act on this?
I think it's been inside of me since I was a little girl, because I was always like entertaining myself, and I didn't have a phone to record myself on, but I had a tape player, and I would record myself and I'm not a singer, but I would record myself trying to sing, and I would record myself like telling jokes, and I would just crack up at my own self. Like, I think I'm hilarious sometimes, so I laugh at my own jokes all the time. But it's like, you have to be able to enjoy your solitude. It's a very important trait that people need to, learn how to possess, because, when you can be happy being like in your solidarity, like it's like you can just be more successful and achieve so many things, because you have to learn to be happy and love yourself before anything else. And then, if anything in life or a person or a partner or a job or whatever can add to that happiness, great. But as long as you can learn to be happy yourself, then that's when everything else, I think, will start, kind of going hand in hand. And so, yeah, I think definitely as I was a little girl, I entertained myself, and I would play the piano by ear. And when I was 11 years old, my papa bought my nanny a guitar, and I would go up to their house and I would just sit and pick on it. And then I would, was playing it by ear. And I still have her guitar to this day. Like, it's priceless to me. It's an American-made PV. Someone at the Guitar Center actually tried to buy it from me. And I'm like, nope, that one's priceless. I promised my grandma I would take care of it, and I still play it. And now my daughter has started picking it up and playing it by ear. And she actually played the beginning of Nothing Else Matters the other day. And I was so impressed because it was like spot on. And it's very difficult, that first few chords. And I'm like, wow, Bella, that's awesome. So it's like, just being able to pick up things that's any of its creativity. And all of that is important to keep our minds healthy. As I stated before, like, you have to keep your mind healthy and for the rest of you to be healthy. It's very soothing and therapeutic too. Like, when I would struggle with anxiety, I would pick up the guitar, and it was just like instant, like fix. So, just and I realized that the more you sit still and the more idle you become, the worse your brain will take over. And, I have a lot, I have struggled with depression myself, and I've been into a very dark hole at one point in my life. And I had no one that even really knew a clue that I was struggling with my own thoughts like I was. And it was like a 3 solid month period that I was in this very dark place. And I had to literally pull my own self out of it, because it's like something just flipped the switch one day, and I'm like, what the F is wrong with you? Like, wake up, like, get the F out of this mindset. Like, what would your brother tell you if he was here? Because Sean was such a motivational person, and he would have been like, oh my God, get up, get up, get up. Like, I really want to write a book one day, and it's going to be called Get the F Up. And because literally you have to just get the F up and like do things and become uncomfortable to grow, like I stated earlier. But like, I was in such a bad headspace because I was being idle. I wasn't doing anything, and I was feeling sorry for myself. And a lot of people, I think, fall into depression, and they stay that way because of those things. They feel sorry for themselves. They start, the whole woe is me thing, and become on this pity party. And when you speak those negative words in your mind, then that's what you're going to feel. So like, you have to literally start speaking positive things and like refusing the negativity, refusing toxicity. Like, nope, not today, Satan. Like, we're not doing this today. Nope. And you have to make yourself do stuff and make yourself get happy and make yourself, I mean, sometimes I had to make myself eat a sandwich. Like, I was so bad at that time. I was so stressed, and, you know, I had become so sad because, you know, I have been through a lot and lost a lot of people in my family. And it's like, it's a hard situation, but you have to literally find your inner strength and your mental strength and pull yourself together and overpower your own thoughts. Like, I always talk about overpowering your own thoughts and your own mind. And it's so important because, you know, an idle mind is the devil's workshop. And the less that you do and the more stagnant you'll become. See, that's why I stay so busy. I think, like, I have to stay busy. I keep myself hustling. I keep myself going. And I do all the little things that bring me joy. Because I realize, like, if I start sitting still too long, I'll feel sad again. So it's very important to be able to keep yourself busy and keep your mind right.
And do you think that need to, like, be busy, do you think that even if, like, people aren't necessarily busy on, like, working on something, even if they're just, like, scrolling, right? Because that's in some ways being busy in a weird way, I guess. Like, it's kind of like keeping your mind off of something. When you do find that your mind goes back to, even for a short period of time, to that place that's ever like a sense of almost like a muse in a way, like a creative muse or like a inspiration in any way?
Of course. So I always, like, when my dad was terminally ill, it's when the very first acting job kind of fell into my lap. And that's when I realized, like, I used acting and being creative as a coping mechanism. So it's more like a coping mechanism for me, like being creative at all just copes. Like, it helps me cope with life in general. And I think a lot of people need to find the things like that in their life that bring them any kind of joy and, you know, whatever their passion is. And it's like therapeutic. It's very healing to do those things. So, you know, I've always, you know, I've had so many people talk about me behind my back and, like, you need to get a real job or you need to do this. And I've had real jobs. I've had 2 jobs at a time. Like, but I still have always done the things that bring me joy and happiness at the same time. And so I realized, though, if I'm not being creative, I'm not at my full capacity of me being myself and being happy. Because there's been times and situations and even relationships that kind of took that from me. And when you have someone, you know, in a relationship that's not being supportive of you and that's trying to take those things away from you instead of helping you grow and helping cheer you on and helping support you, then it's not going to work because it's taking you away from who you are. And so a lot of people, you know, get stuck with being comfortable, and they get stuck in relationships or careers or, you know, whatever, because they're so afraid to change. And it's a sad situation because you can literally change every single day of your life. There's no rules to this game of life. Like, you can wake up tomorrow and decide, I don't want to do this anymore. Like, I want to do what makes me happy. I don't want in this relationship anymore. I'm going to do what makes me happy. Like, you do not have to be stuck doing anything or any job or whatever. Like, I've been in toxic relationships and I've been in a toxic workplace, and never again, until I have, you know, when someone comes into my life that adds to my happiness and that's, like, you know, adds to being a support system and just being, you know, like a hot person. Like, they don't have to take over, but when they can add to the joy, that's like when you will succeed. That's when you will have, you know, a successful partner in life. And same thing with your jobs. Like, you have to have a successful team in your company to be able to grow. And if there's one toxic person on that team, it's going to cause turmoil. And then it's going to cause chaos behind closed doors. I've watched it. I've seen it happen. And then usually that company is a revolving door of staff. So until they fix that and fix their team players and where it comes from, like, it's just going to be constant frustration and aggravation. So it's like a lot of people just have to learn how to work on yourselves sometimes and grow. And then I think that's when success and happiness will follow.
And you mentioned, like, people that would say get a real job. Are you looking for a supplement company that can help take your fitness game to the next level? Look no further than All Sport Pharmaceuticals. Their cutting-edge supplements are scientifically formulated to give you the edge you need in the gym and in life. Whether you're looking to build muscle, increase endurance, or boost recovery time, All Sport Pharmaceuticals has you covered. And with a wide range of products designed for people of all levels, you're sure to find the perfect supplement for your needs. So why wait? Give your body the support it deserves with All Sport Pharmaceuticals. Visit their website today to learn more and start achieving your fitness goals. And I was actually listening to Joe Rogan podcast the other day, and he was talking about this guy who used to, all he did in life was climb mountains or rock climb, something along those lines. Mm-hmm. And that's all he did. Like, he didn't have a house. He didn't have a job. He didn't have... And it's just, it really makes you think, like, the world that we live in really is kind of set up for, like, just trying to get by. Mm-hmm. And it's, you really have to try in order to find that happiness in doing what you want to do. Mm-hmm. It's such a weird kind of, it's a weird thing that we use these weekends. A lot of people use weekends as like the time to like cut loose and to like escape the realities, and instead of using the other 5 days of the week to try to figure out how to actually not need to do that.
Right.
Does it ever feel like to you that because you have figured out like this is what makes me happy, that it's somewhat hard to look around at people who are like kind of still don't like have the mindset shift yet of being able to realize that the grind, not for them, the grind, right? Like that doing everything for everybody else just to pay the bills. Mm-hmm. Like, is that ever hard for you to just like see that is a majority of the people, and just like people that even that you may love are like stuck in that mindset, and people that you try to help are stuck in that mindset?
It breaks my heart. Like, it literally breaks my heart because I know people personally that are in that situation, and they either feel stuck or they just don't know where to turn, or, you know, because, I mean, like, I have a huge heart and I'm a good-hearted person, so, like, I never want to hurt anyone's feelings, and I think that there's a lot of people that kind of feel the same way when it comes to certain things, and so that makes them, it makes them feel more of, like, how do I fix this without hurting this person, or how do I get out of this situation without someone thinking bad of me? And that's one thing that a lot of people struggle with, is they are so afraid and so worried about what everyone else thinks that they are too, like, it's like, why? I don't understand, like, why? Why do you care so much about what everyone else thinks? It's your life. They're doing what they want to do. They're doing, they're living their life the way they want to. You should be able to live your life the way you want to. Stop worrying what anyone thinks about what you're doing. Because like I said, there will always, always, always be someone that does not agree with what you do, that does not like what you do, that is going to talk about you behind your back no matter what you do in your life. And who cares? Like, who cares? Because it's going to happen. You cannot let that affect you at all. You just got to keep, do what makes you happy. If you're stuck and you're feeling completely miserable in a situation, get out. Walk away. Like, I refuse. I'm at the point in my life that I refuse to allow anyone to bring negativity into my life. Like, if I'm around somebody and they make me just feel like their energy is off, or it's making me feel uncomfortable in any way, bye. I don't have to deal with it. And that's the beauty of life. Like, you don't have to. You are not stuck. Like, you are not ever stuck in any situation. And so a lot of people, I think they just don't know how to take the steps to get out, or they're afraid. And a lot of it does boil down to, like I said, I know people personally that's afraid to get out of situations they're not happy in because they don't know how they'll make it financially. And that's sad too, like, that you feel stuck because you don't know how you're going to live, because the world, is gone to shit pretty much, and everything's ridiculously expensive. And so it's a sad situation that people are staying in a relationship because of that, or, it's just sad. And it breaks my heart when I see, like, the amount of people that don't know how easy little things in life can be just by simple steps and changing things, and you could be so much happier. Like they could be so much happier in their life if they would just change their mindset. Like, mindset is everything. literally everything.
Yeah. I mean, when you have the mindset that you can do something, you start, even if you don't know like how to do it, you start to figure it out. You start to do your research. And speaking about that, you mentioned like the steps that it takes. How did you figure out those steps that it takes, and whether that be just generally speaking, or but also in the world of acting?
You literally just have to put yourself out there, and that is something I learned years ago. Like, no one is going to do it for you. I don't care what they tell you. I don't care if they say, yeah, they're going to do this or that. No one is going to do it for you like you can. So, if you want something, you have to go for it yourself. Like, I created my own website years ago, so I could throw that out there. So I could email people. So I could send, I would find the casting directors myself and would just send on my, website. It was like, hey, if I feel a part, if I'm the image at all that you need, I would love to work with you. I have reached out to people on my own and got gigs. Like, I had an agent years ago, and when I first started, and she was amazing, Miss Janice, and I used to call her my second mama, but she was the one that got me on like the first TV shows I was on, the muder-reenactment series and all of that. And that's kind of just what she focused on in Tennessee. It was in Tennessee, and it was a lot of the muder-reenactment shows. But then I realized, like, throughout meeting people in life, I kind of just really didn't need an agent, so to speak, anymore, because the more people you meet, and I really stress this right here, your first impression that you make on someone is a lasting impression, and they will remember you, the first impression. And I've had directors contact me that I've not even submitted for a gig, and that's a really cool feeling when you get a phone call like, hey, do you want to, would you like to be part of this? And it's because I've worked with them before, and they liked me, and they knew, that I would be there, and I do what I say, and I show up, and I do the thing. And so it's like, your first impression with everything in life is huge. Like, if you show up and you're snooty or cocky or just, I keep hitting this microphone, I'm sorry. If you show up and you just have this horrible attitude, people's going to remember that, and then they're not going to want to have that person around, because I've seen that happen too. Like, I've been in a room with people, and I'm like, gosh, their attitude sucks. So, like, you want to always, make a great impression on people, because that's what they're going to remember by you, especially the first impression. They're going to remember that by you. But I don't know. I think I went off into a tangent there, so I don't even know what you asked at this point. My mind just, ADHD is kicking in, I guess.
I think, though, it is interesting that people have, like, a negative attitude about it when they're trying to get something from someone else. Like, why would you come in with like anything other than just positivity? It's mind blowing, honestly. Like, I've seen so many people that do that, and I'm just like, dude, like, do you realize the opportunity that you have, or that you can, just the amount of people that look up to you? Like, why would you ever act in a way that makes you look bad? And so, but you were asking me that, like, the steps, like, how did I learn the steps or whatever? Yeah. And so literally that was like, I just had to realize, if I'm not putting myself out there and taking initiative, no one's going to do that for me. And so, just like, I've been a certified life coach for years. I've never done anything with it. And literally, just when we were on vacation a few months ago, I thought, you know what, I'm going for it. I sit there on vacation and created my logo, created my website, got it up and running. And I was like, okay, it's out there. It's into the universe. Like, you just have to throw it out there. You just have to start, because no one is going to do it for you. Right.
So that's like, if you lay around and think things are going to be handed to you, you're going to have a rude awakening, because that's not the way life works. And
I think a lot of it is too, like, it's doing it, and then it's you believing that you can do that.
Absolutely. Because the way that you talk to yourself is everything. Like, if you are telling yourself, hey, I'm doing this and I'm going to be awesome at it, then your mind listens to you, and then your mind will, actually start to believe that. Like, and if you hang out with me long enough, I'm the type of person that I'm going to make you believe in yourself. Like, it's like you're going to do the things that you want to do, but you have to believe that you can do them. Because when people sit and speak negative, then that's what's going to happen. You're going to fail. When you speak positive and you go for it, then you're going to succeed. You might fail, but you have to fail sometimes to grow. Like, everyone's going to fail at something in life, and it's honestly really important to fail, because you sometimes have to hit rock bottom to get the F up. And, hitting rock bottom isn't a bad thing. I think we've all hit rock bottom at one point in our lives. I know I have. But the thing about hitting rock bottom is you can start all over and do whatever you want to do. And so, but there's people that don't view it that way. There's a lot of people that they get so down on themselves if they have a hardship or something's not going right, and they don't know how to change it. And so they just start feeling sorry for themselves, and it just becomes a pattern. But you have to literally change your mindset, change your concept of thinking. Shit, I can change what I want to do tomorrow. I can start all over tomorrow. Screw this bad part of my life. That's in the past. And, let the past be just that. If we all go through bad things, we go through traumatic experiences, don't dwell on it. There's people that's been through trauma that literally lives with them their entire life. I went through a traumatic experience and I block it out. I don't want to think about it anymore. I don't want to think about that time. And, I want that blocked out. Why would you want to dwell on something that affects you so bad? Yeah. That happened. I'm lucky to be here. I'm lucky to be alive. I'm glad that I'm here. Screw that whole situation. And, don't think about it. There's so many people that dwell on the past.
Yeah.
And when you when you dwell on the past and you think about the past, you become depressed. When you think about the future, you get anxiety. So it's that's why I teach my daughter all the time. You have to focus on today and just focus on the present moment. And your sign right there, present actions create future results. And that's so true. If you're trying so hard to focus so much on your future, you're going to get overwhelmed. You literally have to take one day at a time and just get through that day. And each day, you're going to be oh, I've grown. I'm growing. And that's when people become successful. And I've seen so many people that's let it define them in a negative way. And that's what's so hard. And, that's I hate seeing that, because you don't have to let that define you in a negative way. Literally just let it go, put it behind you. There's nothing that you can do to change it now. That happened, whatever it was. Even if it's a failed marriage, there's so many people that I have so many friends that's even went through, divorce, and I've never been married, so I don't know firsthand, how that feels. But I've watched people that go through a divorce and they just think that their life is just over, and that they're so unworthy of love again, or they don't, they failed in their marriage. Who cares? You all weren't meant to be. It's fine. You all, people grow apart. In life, everybody grows apart. Even with a career, you might grow apart from, what you started out loving. And, my brother Travis started out in healthcare, and he's a roofer, and he loves it, and he's amazing at it. You don't have to stay what you started out doing if that's not what brings you joy and happiness.
And I think people attach other people's standards to that. Mm-hmm. And it's oh, well, this person must think I'm a worse person now. Or
right.
If I go back to school at 45, what are people going to think? Mm-hmm. Or whatever that situation is. Or what's somebody going to think if I go from, white collar to blue collar? Or, in reality, that's not necessarily better or worse, but there's a connotation behind that. So what's the thought pattern that other people are? So a lot of times I don't think it's what people necessarily even truly care about. It's what other people, or they think what other people are going to think. And then a lot of times too, those people don't even really think that about the other person. It's just what we all think other people are thinking.
That's why when you can develop the mindset of not giving a flying F, I'm trying not to say the words on here, but when you develop that mindset of not giving one single care or thought as to what anyone else thinks of you, it is an amazing feeling, and it's a much more peaceful mindset. You can just just live your life, do the things that bring you joy. Like I said, you don't have to be set on one certain career. I work part-time at a wellness lounge as a wellness specialist. Love it. It's an amazing community because I am into health and fitness. So our job there at the recovery room is to help you recover like a pro. So we have the cold water immersion and the red light therapy, the IV hydration therapy, the PEMF therapy, and it's all very natural, which I love. Anything that's naturally healing is just awesome to me. I'm all about it. I'm very anti-medicine. So, like, I'm anti-big pharma companies. I'm sorry if that offends anyone, but that's how I believe. And I don't care to say that because that's just who I am and how I feel. So I do that part-time. I bartend and VIP host at Manchester Music Hall part-time because I love it. I just love, like, the shows. I love the people. I love the same, I see a lot of the same people. I've met so many awesome friends by doing that. And then I do the acting and modeling when I can. It's not something that I, like, throw myself into like that. I don't plan on moving to LA to do that, but you don't have to. Like, you don't have to move to LA to be into the entertainment industry. And that's also, like, that's the beauty of social media now, is we have so many ways to get in touch with people and get in touch with different directors or casting directors and opportunities, or even the musicians that are found now on TikTok or Instagram, because they sing and everybody's like, holy crap, you're talented. And then it blows up, and then they put their songs on iTunes, and then it blows up. Next thing you know, they've got a record deal contacting them. And that's the beauty of social media, even though it does have its downsides. But you can't, like, don't read the hatred. Don't read the hate. Just delete it. If you see a negative comment, delete it. You don't have to reply. And that's something I had to learn, like, to grow with. I used to reply. I used to let it affect me, and I would banter back and forth. And I was finally like, I grew up, and I was like, I got to quit. Who cares what they say? Like, who cares? You're always going to have those keyboard warriors, always. And that's what they are. They're little keyboard warriors. And who cares? Yeah. Let them sit there and be miserable talking about everybody else, because it's their problem. It's not our problem. It's their problem. Because people that do that try to just attack other people or put people down, they're unhappy with themselves, and that they need to work on that, and it's not our problem. So just delete it and go on, you know?
Social media does have, like, such a powerful, it can be a powerful tool, but so many people, and I'm not saying it's necessarily wrong if you're not creating on it, because it is okay to, consume social media content to a certain degree. I think there's a lot of people who are probably maybe a little bit too much, but the possibility that social media has to connect people. I know, personally on this podcast, I've gotten to talk to people from, I think, 11 countries.
That's awesome.
Just talked to somebody from Australia a couple days ago. They're actually an actor, funny enough.
I love their accent.
Yeah.
I love Australian accents and British accents, and people's like, I have an accent. And I'm like, no, y'all have an accent.
Does having an accent in the world of acting, does that ever feel like it does get challenging?
Absolutely. I have a horrible time trying to hide my twang. Like, I've had, there's been 2 gigs that I didn't get because of my twang, but I can't change it. Like, yeah, if I wanted to go and, like, really try to work on that and work on, maybe some kind of voice class or whatever, but I just don't want to. Like, it's just part of who I am, and I can't change my twang. Like, it's how I talk. And there's actors too that's never had to change, like Matthew McConaughey. He's country as cornbread too. He's never had to change his accent. Like, there's actors that's never had to change their accent. So I've not let it affect me or, like, bother me, but it definitely has. Like, I've been told that I would get more opportunities if I could change it up a little bit.
In a world where we're like this, there's supposed to be, like, this diversity, and, like, you would think that, okay, it doesn't matter if this person has a Southern accent or Cajun or whatever kind of accent,
right? They
can do any role because that's what they're saying. That's what, like, people, or they can get any, there shouldn't be any stereotypes against them because XYZ standards. But it's crazy that I feel like it's almost that to the extreme on one end, but almost to the exact same extreme on the other end, against, a lot of times, for whatever reason, against, like, that Southern outlook or perspective. I think it can feel like a burden, but does also ever feel like you have that outsider's perspective of, like, oh, I can kind of see what they're not seeing because they all kind of see the same things, not the same way, but very similar, but you kind of see them maybe in a different way.
Yeah, I mean, it's never really bothered me, though, so to speak, just because I am very proud of my Southern roots, and there have been so many people that love my accent and like adore my accent, and so it's like it doesn't really bother me. And probably also because mainly like that's not been my main focus. Like I've not like really tried to be like a A-list celebrity. I just do the things that come my way, that bring me happiness, that bring me joy. And, if I see something that I want to submit for, I submit. If I don't sit and look for it every day, but if it comes across my way, then I just feel like, the universe works sometimes in mysterious ways too. So if we're meant to do something and it's meant to happen, there's going to be opportunities that present itself, but it's up to us to jump onto that. So, but I've not let it like affect me. I do see like some of the movies, if everyone's speaking in a British accent, it's obviously not going to make sense to hire a Southern girl with a Southern accent that comes in, You're
not going to be like in Harry Potter or anything.
Right. I can't. I mean, I can a little bit, but I cannot. I can't hide my twang. I've tried, but I cannot hide it.
Yeah.
My British accent is not that great. My daughter can do a pretty good one, but she doesn't have the twang that I had. She did when she was a little girl. She was super, super country, and it was so cute. But considering we moved here when she was 5, she started school in Lexington in 1st grade, so she doesn't have the twang as much as I do.
You mentioned getting into the like murder reenactments. Mm-hmm. Tell us a little bit about that. Was that like spooky at all? Just to like be around that energy?
Not really spooky, but sometimes I was just like, wow, these people are really effed up in the head type of thing. Because, I'm portraying a character that actually really happened in real life, and you're just like, holy shit, like this really goes on in people's minds. So it's not spooky. It's just kind of nuts. One role that I played was her name was Shirley Shook, and it was an episode of Homicide Hunter. And my character was murdered. So the whole episode was trying to figure out who killed Shirley Shook. And what was really cool, it was her actual granddaughter found me on social media and sent me a message after that and had watched the episode and literally told me that I portrayed her grandmother to a T and that she just wanted to thank me for just, and I was like, this is crazy. It was really cool. At the same time, I'm like, wow. Like, and because it made me feel bad because her grandmother got killed. Yeah. But she was like, you portrayed my grandma so well. And it was a really cool, like, message at the same time. But it's just odd. But like, even if you're acting, you have, like, you leave a impression on people.
Yeah, that's interesting. I've never thought about it from like the family's perspective like that.
Yep.
I mean, that's such a hard, devastating, crazy thing to happen in someone's life. And then it's just like on TV. Never thought about it like that. Did you ever think about like, oh, I hope I'm doing this justice, or I hope I'm kind of like taking this serious enough. So if someone sees it that is connected to this in any way, they don't think that it's just like fun for me.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, that seems like it would be a lot to kind of have on your shoulders.
Yeah, especially in that type of situation, if you're doing a reenactment to where, you're reenacting a character like that was a real life individual. You definitely want to, you have to put yourself in that person's shoes. And it's just like, wow, sometimes. Because, I mean, I've been a victim, but I've also was a killer in one of the episodes. And they were so messed up in the head, and it was just insane to think that this is what they did in their life, and like that even would cross your mind to do that to somebody. And so that it was a very trying week when that episode. This was a different episode. This one was on Snapped Killer Couples on Oxygen Network, and it was insane, just the backstory, and that it really happened. Yeah, and it's just like, wow, like this is wild. So, but yeah, it was a tough week to get through that episode, but
how do you put yourself in that mind frame?
Literally, it's kind of, I think that's the creative side of like any actor or any individual that's in the industry at all. It's all mindset. Like, mindset is literally everything in everything that we do. So, you just have to be like, okay, this isn't me. This is not who I am as a person. This is me portraying this person's character. And so, like, you can't let it beat yourself up because it's not you. You're just reenacting someone else. Like you want to make sure, like you have to put yourself in those shoes and actually become that character, and just kind of like think about how they were living, and just, it's just like a creative thing. You just literally have to, I don't know how to explain it other than you just throw yourself into that character. Yeah. That's all it is. You have to realize, like, you have to have that kind of mental block, so to speak, that it's just acting, Yeah. And let me give you a scenario that's funny to me, because it is just acting. So I was part of a music video recently, and we shot it here in Louisville with Dusty Lee, and it was called Jesus Was a Redneck. Hilarious video. It's very comedic. Catfish Cooley was in there. And the story, I mean, it was a funny little, it was a really funny, it had a good message too. Like, Jesus wins the wrestling match at the end. But I want you to know that I got attacked on email several times by an individual that just kept telling me that I was, glorifying Satan, and that I was pretty much going to hell. Pretty much, I mean, it was sending me articles. It was very blasphemy and all this stuff. And I'm like, it was a music video. Like, I've been acting for 13 years. Like, no one was glorifying Satan. Like, Catfish Cooley's wrestling costume was the devil. And then, and then Jesus was a redneck, and he pulls off his thing and he's covered in tattoos. It was comedy. But people just can't seem to, like, differentiate between the two. Mm-hmm. It's like, it's not real life. It's not real life. Like, I'm not worshiping Satan. And it was just hilarious to me that's like, even like, I'm getting attacked in email like constantly. And this went on for weeks, and I just quit responding, because I'm like, this is so stupid. This is not who I am as a person at all. Like, it was a very funny video. Like, we all laughed so hard filming that video. It's hilarious. And like I said, it actually has a good message, but you have people that don't look at the message. They just, they see what they want to see, or they hear what they want to hear, and then they go with it. And that's a lot of the issues that we have in today's world, are that people just see what they want to see, or they hear what they want to hear, and then they just make their own opinions of it without even watching,
Yeah, I think too, we read in so much to things nowadays. Mm-hmm. Like, there must be an ulterior motive to that. Mm-hmm. Whether that's for or against what you believe. Mm-hmm. And I think that's so hard to, like, step out of that sometimes, because I think some things obviously do have an ulterior motive, but some things just don't. Like, I
think a lot of people too, they're just so dang serious anymore with their lives, and it's like, you don't have to always be so serious. Like, it's okay to laugh. It is okay to, to enjoy yourself. Like, it's like, laugh. Like, literally, like, laughter is the best medicine. Even like, I'll sit and catch myself scrolling through Instagram reels at 2:00 in the morning if I can't sleep, and I'm laughing until tears are running down my face. And it's just like, it's a good feeling to laugh. Like, laughter makes you feel better. It just makes you feel happy. And so, like, anytime, if my daughter's feeling sad, I'm like, I'll be sending her funny videos, and then I'll hear her cracking up, and then she's feeling better. Like, watch something funny and learn to laugh a little bit. And I swear, it helps you. It helps bring you joy. When people are so serious and take everything just overly serious, it's just like, they're stealing joy from themselves.
This podcast is sponsored by Smoking Gun Coffee, a veteran-owned coffee company that strives to give back to those in need. Don't forget to use code TWR10 for a 10% discount at checkout. Looking for a supplement company that's as serious about your fitness goals as you are? Allsport Pharmaceuticals is here to help. Their top-of-the-line supplements are designed to help you get the most out of every workout with ingredients that have been scientifically proven to enhance performance and recovery. Whether you're a seasoned athlete or just starting out on your fitness journey, Allsport Pharmaceuticals has the perfect supplements to help you achieve your goals. Plus, with their commitment to quality and safety, you can trust that you're getting a product that's both effective and reliable. So what are you waiting for? Take your fitness game to the next level with Allsport Pharmaceuticals. Visit the website today to learn more. After you go into those murder reenactments, mm-hmm. Did you watch the Dahmer Not the documentary, but the show.
I actually didn't watch it. I've not seen it.
Oh, it's pretty good if you can like deal and handle really weird stuff. But I didn't know if you. It's
intriguing.
Thought about
it's
that.
Honestly intriguing to see like their mind and like what they're doing. It's crazy, but it's intriguing because it's just like, wow, like it's a mental illness.
Yeah.
But I haven't watched it. I've watched other different documentaries and stuff, but I haven't watched that one yet. I want to.
That one was. You have to watch that one. I think it's really cool because that show came out and then the actual documentary came out, which is really cool because, in my opinion, there were two. I can't remember which one it was, which was which way, but like it was maybe the show portrayed it more as like he almost doesn't have a choice in it, like it's just his brain taking over, and then the other one was more like he's just like evil and blah blah blah. So it was kind of cool to see like the juxtaposition between. Which one really is it? Is it a combination of both? Like, obviously, it's bringing him pleasure in some way to do it, so he wants to do it. But I think it was the show, like, he was really, or the way they wrote it was really, like, expressing, he was showing, like, regret kind of for doing the things that he did. So it was just really fascinating and even cooler, too, because it was a show and it wasn't just a movie. Like, what's that one with Zac Efron? I can't remember who he
oh, yeah.
Wasn't Ted Kaczynski?
Yeah, it was Ted Bundy.
Yeah, that's right, Ted Bundy. His was really good too, but just even going deeper into like a show where it's so much probably more extensive and like that kind of side of it, I think getting into how you would have to like completely, I think, mentally go into that character for that long would be pretty crazy. You know
what the actor who I was just like in awe with that had to go in the character was Matthew McConaughey in the role when what was the movie called where he lost so much weight?
Dallas Buyers.
Yep. Dallas Buyers Club.
Yeah.
I was like, wow. Because, he was always super fit and healthy, and then he literally completely transformed his body and, which can be unhealthy to get into that role. And he deserved so much, like, recognition, more so than he even received for that film, just because that was insane to me to see him transform himself like that for a role and the way that he did. I mean, it was amazing. Like he's a phenomenal actor. Yeah. And then, he had to rebuild himself back after that. And it was wild to me.
Yeah. It's crazy to think what people do, like what actors do to do what they do. Like to entertain, they have to literally mentally and physically.
Passion. It's literally their passion.
Yeah.
Like they enjoy it.
I think another one that's really cool that can do that with their body is Christian Bale. He's insane when it comes to like obviously looking at like The Dark Knight when he's jacked, and then what's that movie he played in when he was the brother of the boxer? Can't remember what it was.
I know what you're talking about,
but he was like a drug addict. Who was the other guy? The boxer was really famous too. I can't remember who that was though.
I know exactly what you're talking about, but I cannot think of. It's like I have a mental block right now.
I want to go watch it though. It's so good.
I know it is so good.
Oh, it's the other fit dude. Mark Wahlberg.
Mark Wahlberg.
That's who it is. Yep.
Marky Mark.
Yep.
How did we not think of that?
I don't know. He's so iconic. But they really, a lot of them really have like a true commitment to what they do, regardless of kind of what you think their politics or their personal views are.
Right, and that's when I think it literally comes down to that. It's passion. Like it is their passion. Like a lot of people in the entertainment industry, it's what we love to do. And people that do that can completely transform their body, it's because they actually oddly enjoy it. Like we enjoy doing the things, or we wouldn't be doing it. And there's so many people too that are in career paths that they don't need to be in. That like a lot of people in healthcare, sadly, that if they're not passionate about helping others, then get out. Like there's so many horror stories, especially in the nursing homes. Like even when my grandma was alive in the nursing home, like someone there was putting bruises all over her. And it's like, why are you in that industry if that's what you're going to do? And that's like, people need to look at themselves into a deeper level. Like what makes you happy and what's your passion, and then do that. Like go for that. That way you're happy and you're treating other people, better and with respect because you're doing what makes you happy. Don't just go take a job because you need a job and then be miserable at it and then take frustrations out on people that don't deserve it. And you see that so many times in this world. And it's honestly infuriating when you see those things, because it's like, if you are being mean to people in your career, get out, change it. You don't need to be in that career. Yeah. It's mind-blowing to me. It's very frustrating. But like when you stop like chasing money and then start following your passion, that is when you will obviously, you're getting more genuinely fulfilled, and you will become more happy.
It's crazy to think that we do live in a world where money is like this signifier.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's extremely important.
Yeah.
I mean, we have to pay our bills, but you have to do things too. Like, there's so many other avenues too now that we can do that, generate income. Like, there's always some way to generate income, even with your podcast, with my social media, with my reels, it generates income with ads. Like, there's constant ways that you can, get revenue coming in behind the scenes. And a lot of people don't even know how to get that started. And so they get stuck and they become stagnant. And instead of trying to reach out and see, oh, wow, there's all these other opportunities and options that I can do. Like, I have tried a lot of things, and I'm a very well-rounded person, because like, I refuse to settle on, with a career. So I would try things, and I become certified in different things. Like, I'm a certified lash artist, because at one point I thought, well, I'm going to have my own lash business, but I don't want to do that. I like, for my friend Tracy, she owns, the Lash by Tracy. She does my lashes, and then I'll do hers. But I don't want to do that as a career. Like, I don't have the patience to sit and do that and for all day long. And but I went for it, and I'm certified, and I can do it. So if I can always fall back on that if I need to. I don't hate it. I'm just too more like, I got to be more outgoing and like doing more things where I'm not bent over for 3 hours doing the set of lashes. So I'm very thankful for Tracy that she does, because I got to keep my lashes looking good. But, I got certified to do that just to try it. I didn't want to do it, but you know what? I tried, but I have that certification. I was certified in cool sculpting at one point because I worked at a med spa. And so I can still do that. I'm certified to do it, but I don't really want to do that, So I became a certified life coach because I love helping people. And that is passion to me. Like, I love helping people see their worth and helping build their confidence and helping them grow, whether it's helping them grow, individually or in their relationship or in their career or just, as a person, as a parent, whatever. Like, I love to help people grow. And so, that's why I threw myself into my little coaching business, but I'm still doing all the other things that bring me joy too.
When you go into something and think, how can I make the most money, or how can I make money off of this? A lot of times that's not the path for you, I feel like. And I think it'd be so cool to just be able to live in a world, and I know this is like super just out there thought, but it'd just be so cool to see what people really would do if there wasn't that drive or that need to make money. Because even, when you are creative, you find out a little bit that there's going to come a time when, whether that's through sponsors or through whatever it is, your platform, you feel like maybe people won't agree with what you're saying, so you might lose money. If that does become like a money-making opportunity for you, I feel like you're at least going to face one time or one challenge of, well, should I put this content out because it might hurt the monetization, or should I put this conversation out there? Should I clip this out because people might think, even though I don't feel like it's, a negative thing, people might think that, or whatever. I just think it'd be really interesting to see what people would do from a job perspective, from a creative perspective, if they just did it only because they loved it. Like, what would music sound like? What would art look like? What would podcasts sound like? What would just people's work in general be if there was only a drive to just like do what they really enjoyed?
Mm-hmm. I think if people would just start doing what makes them happy and follow that, then it would be a much happier place that we live in. And it's just, it's sad because honestly, you can do that if you want to. It's just so many people are just afraid because, I think they have to, there's like a certain set of standards that I feel like so many people have to live up to these days. And part of that is because they do compare themselves to other people. And when you stop comparing yourself and just stop focusing on yourself, that's when you will become a much happier person. Your only competition needs to be you. Like, I compete with myself every day just to be a better person today than I was yesterday. And then tomorrow I want to be a better person tomorrow than I was today. And, that's just the mindset that I try to live in. And it's helped me grow as a person. And that's another thing. A lot of people, it's like they think they know everything so early on, and they refuse to continue to grow. But I love to learn. Knowledge is power, and I soak things up like a sponge all the time. Even if I'm in a group setting, I'm very aware of my surroundings, and I like to take things in and just listen. And you're constantly learning. It's not a bad thing. But I feel like there's so many people that they already think they know everything in life. And usually the people like that are just their personality kind of sucks. If you've ever been around somebody like that, when they think they already know everything, it's just their personality is usually really kind of conceited or cocky. And, I love to grow every day. I'm still growing, and there's beauty in growth. And there's beauty in pain, and pain is what's caused me to grow into the person I am today.
I think there's a little bit of sadness too in people who think they know it all, because if I thought I knew it all now, I would be oh, it's a scary world, because I don't know that. I feel like I don't have any answers, and I feel like there's still so many questions left. And
there's so many questions left.
Yeah. How does the world, do you think, come back to that?
I think that it's already here. I think there's so many people that do value what other people say, but then there's so many people that lack in that aspect. And it's very important to listen when other people are talking as well. And that was something I had to work on myself a long time ago, because and I think part of that is just a little bit of the ADHD I think that I have. I'm just diagnosing myself with that, by the way. But I've even had directors tell me, you've got ADHD, because I'm just constantly squirrel, and if I'm telling a story, I will go from one thing to another. So it's I've had to work on that. And even if I'm talking to someone, I've had to work on trying to stay focused on what I'm talking about. And then I have to focus and listen to what they're talking about, because my mind is just constantly going. And I think that's a lot of people that I know that have a creative mind and creative individuals. Our minds never slow down, and it's it don't shut off. So we have to really learn to focus sometimes and listen to people. And a lot of people don't know how to do that. And I think if they could start doing that more often, they would start valuing people more, Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah, for sure. And having being creative and being an actor, how do you build off of that creativity and the ideas that you might have, but you don't actually have a role to fulfill? Do you ever find yourself putting yourself into what if I had this role, or how would I have done that if you're watching a movie or anything like that?
Oh yeah, when Justified first came out, which was based on my hometown, I don't remember if you remember the series Justified on FX network. I wanted so badly to be Ava Crowder. I was man, I could have played that part. I already have the accent down. I'm Harlan County born and bred. I'm, and people, even from my hometown, that kind of put Harlan on the map when that show came out years ago. And they actually are starting a new series this year, I think it's already started. But that character, I was gosh, I wish I could have done it. And I tried like hell to get on that show, but that was also, 10 years ago, and I wasn't as established. I didn't have as many things on my background, and I also didn't throw myself out there as much as I do now. But I would love to be part of that show just because of the roots, where it was based on Harlan County. But that was one character that I was man, I wish I could have played her part. In Yellowstone, I love Yellowstone.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
I would love to be on Yellowstone. That would be a dream.
What
I
is
love
it?
Beth's character. I love her so much. Like, she is just a badass female. She just does what she wants. She speaks her mind. She doesn't give a shit, and I love that. Like, I love her personality.
What is it about, do you think, about those shows that are based off of like either small towns or that kind of lifestyle? What is it, do you think, that makes people want to watch that? Because at the same time, I feel like there's so many people who'd say, I'd never live in a small town, or I can't imagine being away from technology. But these shows have such big followings, and people just love to kind of like, is it the nostalgia of it or anything like that, do you think?
Could be. It could be. It could be that so many of their stories actually touch base on people's lives, you know, like in real life. And, you know, they can kind of put themselves into that character or that mindset because they've even kind of lived that way before. Or I'm not sure. Like, even like with Yellowstone, I've had people that's like, gosh, I want to move to Montana and be a cowboy. Like, I've literally had a friend of mine say that because he loves that show, and he's like, I just really want to move out to Montana and just live that way. I was like, well, do it. Like, do it. What's stopping you?
Yeah.
You know, so it's, I don't know. It's just really cool, though, how some of these series and movies, how they, you know, affect people when they watch it, you know.
Yeah.
It's really, it's kind of, it can affect you in a positive light, and it can affect you in a negative light, but that's all goes back to, too, like, you have to, like, not let it affect you negatively.
Is there anything out there now? Is there any like genre, or is there any, I don't know what you call it necessarily in that world, but like style of role or style of, maybe like TV versus movie versus whatever, that kind of like you're more interested in doing, or like you'd be really interested in doing something that is more like of a Western, or more like of a, hey, I want to do, kind of go out of my comfort zone and do something that's, you know, in a major city, or just like something like that?
Yeah, I always wanted to play like a baddie female character, like a villain, but I kind of just did that on the independent film I just worked on. So that was really fun to do. That character was very fun to play. But Yellowstone, absolutely, hands down, I would love to have a part on Yellowstone. I just love that, just the whole concept of that show and the series, and just the, you know, the country, they have the countryness, the twang, and I love Beth's character on there. I love Rip. I love all of them. Like, it's just such a good series. I don't know if you've gotten into that at all yet, but I would love to, like, and it's not really a Western, but it kind of is, I guess. So it would be cool to be on that.
Yeah. I've seen a few episodes of that, and I think a few episodes of 1883. I don't know if I've seen it either. 1923 though, but when you say independent, can you explain a little bit about what makes a film independent versus what makes it, I guess, like major studio backed, or whatever the difference is? I
think a lot of the independent films, you know, that's like more, it's just independent. Like, they get the GoFundMes, or not the GoFundMes, you can contribute.
Like a crowdfunded?
That's exactly what it is. It's a crowdfunding thing. And so you can contribute to the project. And they have perks with that. Like, if you contribute, you can even be a producer on something, or an associate producer, or, you know, get some fan art or a poster signed by everybody or whatever. It just depends on like what your contributions are. And that helps people like in the smaller industry, I guess, so to speak, help kind of make these movies. So there's so many independent films out there that's being made, like with this, that doesn't have like this huge production behind them, but they end up taking them to these film festivals, and then, you know, they win awards, and, you know, that you never know how far that can go and where that might lead you. So like everything, once upon a time, started as an independent film, and then it may be the one that's picked up and blows up onto the big screen. So like if you ever, and that was one thing, like with acting, I've taken, you know, little roles before that you just don't know what they might lead to. Like, so like anything in life, don't ever just knock it off because you don't think that it's like good enough yet, because you never know what that role might lead to. So like I've always kind of thrown myself out there and done different gigs and different projects, music videos, the TV series, a couple of movies, and even though they might have not been like huge roles, you never know who might watch that and be like, huh, I like that Southern girl's twang on there. You know, like I like the way she talks, or I like the way you never know who's going to see you and who you might stand out to that may end up contacting you in the long run. So like everything in life, just like throw yourself out there, because you never know who's going to see that and maybe want you to like work with them.
Have you ever considered or thought about, or, you know, maybe in the future, do any writing or do any like that side of the creative process?
I've did that. It was years ago. I helped write a small independent film that we shot in Knoxville, Tennessee, and I kind of did that, but I don't really enjoy that side of it as much. I love like creating. I love like doing like the creative direction of things, even like with my reels on Instagram. Like every time I go anywhere, it's just like I'm constantly seeing something that's like, oh, that would be a good spot to make a video, or that would be a good spot to take a photo. Like everything, like I can find creativity in so many things. And like last year, like I helped with the creative direction on our local Harley-Davidson calendar, so I was able to help with all of that, and that was really fun to do because that's what I enjoy doing. Like I just have a good eye for things. So I love being behind the camera just as much as I love like being in front of it. So, and I love learning. Like I love learning more about like audio and the lighting, and then just like how things are put together behind the scenes, because there's so much work that goes into making anything, like any kind of film or commercials or videos. Like there's so many things that people don't see.
Do you think
behind the scenes?
Do you think there are a lot of actors out there that do benefit from kind of knowing like how the full thing is done? They get like a better perspective on it, so they can kind of do what they do better.
Absolutely, I'm sure that helps. Just knowing, you know. I think anything in life, like the more you know, the more knowledgeable you are about things. Just like the better your outcome is going to be on how you do things.
And I mentioned I talked to a guy from Australia who was an actor, and he said that it can be very lonely. It can be very sometimes like you're doing a lot of like standing around. Mm-hmm. What do you feel like you do in the meantime? Like is there a lot of like reflection? Is there a lot of getting prepared, or what do you do in between, like actually
like the takes?
Like like in between those.
Like on set. So like, for example, when I was on like in Danville a couple weeks ago, so I had zero time to prepare for that film, by the way, because, and this was a really cool thing, like where someone reached out to me. So their lead actor had came from Atlanta, and he just completely bounced on them like the day of. Wow. And so they were kind of in a panic and trying to find a replacement for the lead. And so a friend of mine called and was like, hey, you know, we're shooting this film this week in Danville. Like, you know, are you interested? If so, I'll tell the director. And I was like, sure. And what's funny is like they kind of had to rewrite a few things too, because that lead role was a male. So it completely transformed into a female role, I was like, this is awesome. Like I'm coming into this one day before I get sent the script, and I'm like, well, here we go. But like my life motto, like it's like it is what it is type of thing. You just throw yourself into it. You'll make it happen. Like I'll figure it out. I have said so many times in life, I'll figure it out. I'll figure it out. Like I've said it so many times, and then you just do. Like just throw yourself into it. Don't overthink things. And so I showed up that next day, and one of the very first things I had to do was a pretty good size monologue, you know, a big, pretty good size few paragraphs. And I had a feeling just driving down to Danville, like I was like, this is going to be the first thing I'm going to have to do. And I just kept, but it was so comical to me, like the first line of like where my character is kind of presenting herself. And I threw myself into that mindset, because it would be like something I would say in real life, because she's very sarcastic. The character's sense of humor was sarcastic. And I loved that about the character. So I think that kind of helped me remember the lines like quickly. So, you know, I just kept repeating it, was kind of reading it as I was driving, which, yeah, don't read and drive. But, you know, I had like an hour to figure this out that day. So, but in between the sets, like, because there are times that you're not needed in a shot. So I just would go around and look. I'm like a nosy person, and I like to to see what's around and like look at the house and like look at the property. I love just like being outside. So I made reels. I would create even in my downtime. I would just set my phone up and just video stuff, and then I would have that. So like when I'm sitting around doing nothing, I could go through and edit a video or edit a reel or like add some kind of caption to this or whatever. So like I would constantly just still create even when I was sitting still waiting, because I can't just stand to just not do something. So I would just keep myself entertained.
Which feeling do you think stronger, being excited about having a great role or being kind of let down about having not as of a great role?
I'm more excited to have a great role because it's more challenging, and I love a challenge. Like I love being challenged, because like being challenged just fuels me as a person and like motivates me to like show up and show out type of thing. Like, you know, like I love a challenge. And so that was kind of, you know, a challenge for me because that was thrown at me the day before. And, you know, some of the people on the other side that didn't know who I was at the time. And it's funny because one of the actors, he actually told me, he's like, you know, before you came here, before I knew who you were, I was like, how is this person going to show up and just start doing all these lines? And the director was like, watch. And it's like, you literally nailed your first line. And I was like, He's like, I had to eat my words. And I was like, well, thanks for telling me that. I was like, that makes me feel good, though. Like, you doubted me and you didn't even know me. It's like, but I love that. Like, I love that when people doubt me, because it, like, fuels me to show them, like, kind of eat their words, so to speak, you know? So I love anything that's challenging.
Yeah. Do you think that there's a lot of that in the industry where it's like, are we going to be able to count on this person? Or?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, because you see it all the time. And you see a lot of people that they just don't show up, or they are just not disciplined, like in their craft, and they're disrespectful. So like a lot of people, they don't even know like how like the proper like set etiquette is, and how to, or they just get a little maybe big-headed, so to speak. And so they just think they can do things however they want. And but that's the type of thing when I was saying your first impression matters, because you're not going to want to work with those people again if that's how they act, or if they don't show up, or if they don't do a good job. Like, you know, you just have to give it your all and do your best, and, you know, be respectful too of other people, because everybody's there kind of for the same thing, but you have to work together to make to bring it your A game to anything in life. So
do you ever find that you find yourself not necessarily getting angry, but like getting obsessive or anything over like, oh, well, I should have said that with more emphasis on this specific word or this specific syllable? Yeah.
I think that's just natural to like a lot of people, and it's creative at all. Like, you always think that you can do something better. Like, I always feel like I could have done that better. I could have done that better. But it's like, it's important sometimes for me. If I watch something back, then I'm like, oh, I could totally do that better. But sometimes it doesn't matter what we think. It's like the director, if they think that, oh no, you nailed it, then cool. Like, don't even question it. But there's plenty of things in life that I've like watched back and I was like, I should have said that differently, or I should have done that better, or I could have done that better. But sometimes you don't get more than, one moment. But yeah, there's definitely been times that even like on that set, because, I wasn't fully prepared, but I did my best. And there was like one scene that was just messing with me, like mentally. And then I was letting it get in my head, and I had to literally, and I would like, like beep, F word. And then I'm like, okay, I got this. Like, stop overthinking it and just do it. Because that was just silly little things that I was messing up on. But then it was just like, I did it. I just got in my head for a mini second, but then I had to tell myself, get out of your head and just do it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But I would get super frustrated because I'm like, why am I just messing up that one word? And it was making me so mad. But that's like, so many people do that. Like, it's so many people do that every day, like even in life. In general conversation, you're just like, shit, I just shouldn't have said that, or I didn't mean to say that. But you have to laugh at things. Like I said, a lot of people just take things so just too seriously, and you have to learn to laugh at things, even the bad, like even the horrible bad moments that you go through. Like, you just sometimes just got to laugh about it.
And so how is your perspective on entertainment in general, just because you have kind of like a more insider view of how things are made and what's done and all that kind of stuff. How has that affected your actual, like, you going and watching a movie or watching a TV series? How has that changed, like, how you view it?
It completely changed me. Like, when I started, dabbling in acting or whatever, I couldn't watch a movie the same. And that's funny that you asked me that, because it's something I would love to know, like, from my other friends in the industry, if they feel the same way. But it's almost like I look for mistakes. Like, I look to see if I can see a video camera in the mirror. I look to see if I see a boom mic just happen to fly into frame. Like, it's like you do notice things that I would have not normally noticed before. Yeah. So yeah, it's definitely like, because you know how things kind of are ran and how they set up or things work, then you kind of look for those things like in the shots now, and it's not as hard on me now, but it used to really mess with me trying to watch a movie for a while, because I wasn't being able to enjoy the movie because I was just looking for stuff. I was like just trying to look for stuff that was wrong or, silly things. But yeah, it definitely changed the way I viewed things for a while.
Is there any passion that you see bubbling up, or is there anything that you see like, hey, maybe this is where the route is headed, or is it just kind of like, this is where I am, we're going to kind of take it day by day and see what happens?
There's things that could possibly be in the works. There's, I realize how much that, like, I enjoy helping people and learning, and just, how important it is, like, with your first impression and, like, on film set and your set etiquette and stuff. So there possibly may be a film acting school in the near future that may pop up and in Kentucky, and they're going to need some, people to help out with the acting classes. So that might be something I might do. And I would enjoy that, because I love just to help, like, just to teach people and just help people grow. And, there's not really been anything like that here in Kentucky. Like, when it comes to the acting industry, it's just kind of, you've had to just figure it out for yourself, unless you actually move away and go to some kind of acting school or whatever. So that's very exciting to think that might be something that's going to take place. So, I'm still like, I don't try to overthink things like in my future. Like, I just do things day by day that make me happy, and that I'm constantly growing as a person. I'm constantly growing as a mother. I'm constantly growing as a friend, as an entrepreneur. I think it's just very important to just focus on, like, don't overthink and overanalyze everything. Just, like, set a goal and then just go for that goal and just focus on each day as it comes. Because when you start, like, looking too much ahead, you're going to get overwhelmed. That's
interesting to have that kind of opportunity. Mm-hmm. Is it something that you've ever thought with, like, your own platform to create, like, content around that, like content around young actors? Hey, this is some stuff to keep in mind, or, having, like, your own.
I really want to, and this is something that I haven't really even spoke about to a very minimal amount of people, but, like, I want to be able to have my own kind of studio warehouse kind of vibe, so to speak, to give other people also, like, a place to create. Like, that is my goal. So, like, that is something too that I'm working toward. Like, I want to be able to have my own studio, because I've done, like, I've done some stuff, and I'm a very creative individual, and I have an eye for things. So I want to be able to take, like, my coaching and also my creative side of things with my acting and my modeling, and kind of put it together, and, like, have a little studio to where I can do photography for people, or make videos for them, help them be creative, or give them a space to come and be creative. And, like, even, like, the boudoir photography, there's so many women that, that they lack confidence. And then I'm so, like, I've had so many people tell me that I've been, like, I make them feel comfortable. Like, I've been on sets and photo shoots that I've helped women, like, feel comfortable, or help, like, show them how to pose. And, like, I love doing that, and then seeing their reaction, like, how it makes them feel, and how their confidence just climbs right there, like on the spot. And I want to be able to do that, like, fulfilling. So that's a goal of mine, is to have my own studio, my own space, that where I can give other people a space to create, like come into the studio, you can rent it type of thing, and just have like these different scenarios in there and different, like a vintage couch little setting, or like a podcast setting, or a stage setting. So like there's also a place where people can come, and if they need like a space to film a music video, you can rent my space out. But then I also have a space that I can create like my own stuff, my own like life coaching, sessions, or my photography sessions. So that's something like that's been weighing on my mind for a while. And I really want to make that happen, just because I want to also provide a space for other people to be able to create and make their magic. So
yeah, no, that's really cool.
You have to invest in anything in life to be able to, be successful. So you have to take a chance into that, investment to be able to grow, because it's just like you got to put yourself out there and just do it. And a lot of people live in fear of failing, and it keeps them from trying to go for what they want to do. So it's like, that's like, just do it. Like, that's been my mindset lately. You know what, just do it. Like, just go for it. Like, we're doing this. Like, that's and I've been such a happier person myself when I completely changed my mindset. Just got to do it.
That's a great way to end the podcast.
And look at you. You're doing it.
You're trying.
Doing the podcast now. See?
I'm trying it. I think it's been a fun journey, a little over, maybe 3.5 years now. So
Well, congrats.
Thanks. I appreciate it. And it's been really great getting to chat with you, kind of getting outside the traditional box.
Thank you so much for having me. I've enjoyed it.
Before you head out, if you want to share your social media or any website or any info like that, you can.
Oh, yeah. It's Ashe Parker, ASHE. Parker with the underscores. My Instagram, my coaching is Bad Ashe Coaching. That's kind of cool. Like, I can do so many little things with my name. So, and if I open my studio, it's probably going to be Bad Ashe Media. So that's just things that's in the works. But Ashe Parker, ASHE Parker, and follow me. And if I can help you guys in any way, shoot me a message.
If you're tired of searching for a coach or trainer, somebody who knows what they're talking about and has experience, make sure you go check out the new Coach's Corner on weightroompodcast.com. You can find quality, qualified coaches to help you achieve your goals, whether that's in bodybuilding or just general fitness. Stop wasting time and start achieving your goals today. The link to the Coach's Corner is down in the description below.